As we read in Ephesians 1 last time, and I wanted to continue there, and we'll look at the last part, the second part of verse 4. We ended on the first part of it last time, and I really want to focus there and then briefly kind of survey a few other verses in there and speak about the power of what the Apostle Paul is telling us, what he is speaking, what he has written that is for each of us personally. And I want to re-emphasize that part. Take it personally. Read it personally. This is speaking about you and to you. So when you understand that it's about you individually, personally, not just some collective. It is collective, but not just collective. It's really, really important that you interact with the words, with what's written personally, intimately, and closely. And I want to speak to that, how to interact with that in such a way that what it does is it draws you closer and melds you closer with the heart of God, with God as your Father who is speaking to you. So when we get to the second part, we'll just breeze through the first part of that we did last time, chapter 1, verse 3 of Ephesians, where he said that you are blessed by God. You have every spiritual blessing in the heavenly realm, within the kingdom realm that you have been called to and that you live in. And he goes on, just as he chose us in him before the foundation of the world, you are chosen. You are chosen by him from before the foundation of the world. Your existence was predestined, predetermined. And that's actually in here in the next verses. By God, he said, I want you. And that's why you were born. That's why elsewhere in the scriptures it says it's appointed unto men once to be born, to die. But it says there's a time to be born and a time to die. You exist because God wanted you. The addition is he gives you new life, because when we follow through, like when we looked at Adam and Eve in the garden, eating of the tree, they chose a path contrary to what God had for them. They said, we're going to determine for ourselves what's right and wrong. All of us have done that to varying degrees, but overall, that's what we've done. And God sends his son. He sends himself as God with us, Emmanuel. Jesus comes to pay the price to redeem and bring us back. And you'll see redemption there in verse 7 specifically. But he chose you before the foundation of the world, before you were born. And then he goes on, that we, or read it personally, you read it for you, that I should be holy and without blame before him in love. Okay, so it's his love that he's chosen me to be holy and without blame. Remember when we read in Colossians 1, where he said how he died to present you to the Father as holy, blameless, and beyond reproach, above reproach. Here he's saying it in another way, saying the same thing. God chose you, and in him and through his love, he makes you holy and blameless. This is his heart and his desire. And you want to receive that. You want to know that that's his heart and his thought towards you. This is the very will, the very heart of God that's being expressed. But if I don't read it personally, I miss it. I don't get that. And I need to get that, because I need to see that I reside in him according to his word, his will. Now, we could read on in all of these verses, and you really should. You should spend some time in here. Verse 5, I'm predestined to be adopted as his son. And this doesn't just mean that I'm somebody else's child that he's going to accept as his own. But he means he's bringing me back because I lived as different as not his own. But he brought me back and joined me to him. That's the adopted, as a son and therefore an heir. And this is according to the good pleasure. This is according to the good pleasure of his will, to the praise of the glory of his grace, which he made us accepted in, or as the beloved. I'm accepted by him. So what I want you to do when you read this personally and read through this, and I don't get a time to really survey, there's just not time in 5 or 6 minutes. But read through and read this personally, and then make these statements. I am, and fill it in with what he's declared about you. I am chosen. I am accepted as his beloved. I am established in holiness and blamelessness in his eyes. Okay, you can read through and you'll find a lot of things. I'm redeemed, I'm forgiven. Make these statements. I am. Take it one step further and do it with him and say, thank you, Lord, that I am chosen by you, that you have chosen, that I am your son, your heir, your child, that I am holy and blameless in your sight. Thank you, Lord, that I am accepted by you. Thank you. That's where the real power is. And I encourage you to take it personally. Thanksgiving, I am with God.